I raised her. I gave her everything when she had nothing, and the day she threw me out of my own home, calling me a burden in front of my son, she smiled. She actually smiled. But here is what she didn't know. I wasn't just a kind mother-in-law. I was a woman who built empires, and I was about to teach her the most expensive lesson of her life. My name is Margaret, but everyone calls me Maggie. Though I am 68 years old, and for the past 40 years, I built a life most people only dream of. With my late husband Thomas, and I started a commercial real estate business from nothing. Just 2 kids with a dream and a loan we had no business getting approved for. Why, by the time Thomas passed 5 years ago, we owned 12 commercial properties across 3 states. The shopping centers, the kind of office buildings, the kind of assets that generate income while you sleep. But this story isn't about success. It is about what happens when kindness gets mistaken for weakness. My son, Daniel, is my only child. I love him more than life itself, but I'll be honest, he's soft and kind heart, but soft. He became a high school English teacher, which I respected, but he never had that fire, that hunger his father and I had. Then he met her, Jessica. She walked into our lives 8 years ago like a wounded bird, 24 years old, estranged from her family, working 3 jobs just to keep a studio apartment in the worst part of town. No education beyond high school, no savings, no safety net. Daniel was head over heels from day one. He'll admit, I had my doubts. Something about the way her eyes calculated when she looked around our home. The way she'd ask questions about our investments on only the second dinner we ever had together. But I pushed those feelings down. My son loved her and she was struggling. I know what it is like to have nothing. So I did what any mother would do. I helped. I paid for her to go to community college and then university, a full bachelor's degree in business administration, every cent covered by me. I bought her a car when hers broke down. I gave them the down payment for their first house, a beautiful 4-bedroom in a neighborhood they could have never afforded on Daniel's teacher salary. When they got married, I paid for the entire wedding. $30,000 affair. She wanted a destination wedding. I gave it to her. And when she got pregnant with my grandson, I was there. I helped them through every moment. Paid for the nursery. Bought the crib, the stroller, everything. "You for too generous, Mom," Daniel would say, hugging me. Jessica would smile and say, "Thank you, Maggie. We couldn't do this without you." I believed her. After little Ethan was born, I noticed things changing. Jessica started working for a marketing firm, a job she only got because of connections I made for her. She was good at it. Driven, maybe too driven. She started making comments. Small things at first. "Maggie, you really shouldn't leave your purse on the counter like that. Someone could think you're careless with money. Ethan needs structure. Maybe you should ask before giving him snacks. Daniel, your mother still thinks she can just drop by whenever she wants. We need boundaries." I ignored it. She was stressed. New mother, demanding job, and I understood. Then 2 years ago, I made a decision that would change everything. I got sick, pneumonia that turned into a longer recovery than expected. At 66, living alone in my big empty house, it was hard. Daniel suggested I move in with them temporarily. "Just until you're back on your feet, Mom. We have the space." Jessica's smile was tight, but she agreed. Temporary became 6 months, then a year, then 18 months. I wasn't a burden. I paid rent, €0 a month, which was more than fair. I helped with Ethan cooking, cleaning. I stayed out of their way, kept to my room and the small office they gave me. But Jessica's attitude grew colder by the week. The breaking point came 3 months ago. I was in the kitchen making Ethan breakfast before school. Jessica came down, dressed in one of those expensive pantsuits I'd bought her, and her face was ice all. "We need to talk, Maggie." Daniel wasn't even home yet. He'd left early for a faculty meeting. Of course, dear, what is wrong? She sat down across from me, and I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Pure, cold contempt. "This isn't working anymore, you living here. It is It is affecting my marriage. Daniel's too afraid to say it, but I am not. We need our space, our privacy, our life back. My heart dropped. Jessica, I pay rent. I help out. Have I done something to upset you? You exist in our space, Maggie. That is what you've done. You hover. You judge. You make me feel like a guest in my own home? None of that was true. But I could see there was no reasoning with her. I can start looking for a place. Wait, I already found you one. A senior living community about 40 minutes from here. I've toured it. It's nice. Clean. They have activities. Oh, she slid a brochure across the table. I felt something crack inside my chest. Oh wait, a senior home. Jessica, I am 68 and fully independent. I don't need. You need to not be here. Ave already put down a deposit.
You
move in 2 weeks.
Oh?
Does Daniel know about this? Her smile was thin and sharp. Daniel agrees with me. He just didn't want to be the one to tell you. That is when little Ethan walked in, rubbing his eyes. Grandma, are you leaving? Jessica's voice turned sugary. Grandma's going to live in a fun new place with lots of friends her own age, sweetie. Isn't that exciting? I couldn't speak. Over the next 2 weeks, I tried to talk to Daniel. But every time, Jessica was there, finishing his sentences, answering for him. Eat is for the best, Mom. You'll love it there, I promise. We'll visit all the time. Lies. All of it. The day I moved out, Jessica stood in the doorway with her arms crossed while Daniel helped me pack my car. She did not offer to help, did not even pretend to be sad. As I pulled out of the driveway, I saw Ethan's little face in the window, crying. Daniel looked torn, but said nothing, and Jessica, she waved, actually waved goodbye like I was going on vacation. That is when I stopped being the kind, generous mother-in-law. That is when I became someone else entirely. The senior community was exactly what you'd expect. Beige walls, the smell of boiled vegetables and false cheerfulness, activities like chair yoga and bingo tournaments. I lasted 3 days before I rented a luxury apartment downtown. 2 bedrooms, floor to ceiling windows, a view of the city that reminded me who I actually was. I wasn't some fragile old woman ready to be put out to pasture. I was Margaret Chen. I had built a fortune with my bare hands, and I was angry. The first week I cried. I won't lie about that. I mourned the relationship with my son, the loss of my grandson, the betrayal of someone I'd treated like a daughter. The second week, I got curious. See, I am not just a property owner, I am a businesswoman, and businesswomen pay attention to details. I started looking into Jessica's life, her job, her spending habits, her social media, which was full of carefully curated images of their perfect family. What I found made my blood boil. That car I bought her. She'd traded it in for a luxury SUV, financed with payments she could barely afford. The degree I paid for, she'd leveraged it to get a mid-level marketing position, but she was spending like an executive. Designer bags, weekly spa treatments, a Gulsa trip to Turks and Caicos that cost more than most people's monthly salary. All while my son, my beautiful, naive son, worked overtime tutoring students to keep up with the bills. But that wasn't even the worst part. I hired a private investigator, not cheap, but worth every penny. Within 2 weeks, he brought me a folder that changed everything. Jessica was having an affair. His name was Marcus, 38, a vice president at the marketing firm where she worked, married, 2 kids. The photos were damning hotel meetings during work trips, long lunches that turned into afternoons, text messages my investigator had pulled from a data recovery service after accessing her old phone records, legally grey area, but I didn't care. Messages like, can't wait to leave him. Just need to secure the assets first. Daniel's mom is finally gone. One less obstacle. Once I get what I need from this marriage, we can start fresh. You and me. I sat in my apartment staring at those messages and something cold settled over me. She wasn't just a woman who'd betrayed my kindness. She was a predator, a user, and she was planning to destroy my son. Over the next month, I planned, not revenge, strategy. See, here is what Jessica didn't know about me. I didn't just own commercial real estate. I owned the building where her marketing firm leased their office space. I'd bought it 15 years ago as part of a portfolio deal, and barely thought about it since. My property management company handled everything. But now it became my weapon. I also started quietly reaching out to old contacts, lawyers, accountants, business associates who owed me favors. And I made a few phone calls to Marcus's wife, anonymously at first, sending her copies of the evidence. Just enough to plant seeds of doubt. Then I waited, because the best revenge isn't loud, it is inevitable. The first domino fell on a Tuesday. Marcus's wife filed for divorce. In the process, she named Jessica as the affair partner, which made its way to the HR department at the marketing firm. Jessica was called into a meeting. According to my sources inside the building, she was strongly encouraged to resign to avoid termination for violating the company's ethics policy. Sleeping with a superior creates liability. She refused at first, threatened lawyers, made a scene. That is when I made my move. I contacted the property management company and instructed them to inform the marketing firm that their lease would not be renewed. The building was being repositioned for new tenants. This wasn't personal toward the company. I actually gave them 6 months' notice and helped them find another location. But the chaos it created, beautiful. Layoffs, restructuring, and Jessica, already on thin ice, was let go in the first round of cuts. Suddenly, she had no job, no income, no affair partner. Marcus stopped answering her calls the moment his wife's lawyer got involved. But I wasn't done. Remember that house I gave Daniel and Jessica the down payment for? Here is the thing, the down payment was a gift, but I'd also co-signed the mortgage when they refinanced 2 years ago. Jessica wanted to access the equity to invest in something I signed because Daniel asked. Big mistake on her part. As a co-signer, I had rights, and I had lawyers. When Jessica missed the first mortgage payment because, no job, I received a notification. I waited for the second missed payment. Then I initiated a legal action to protect my interest in the property. I didn't want to take their house. I wanted her to face consequences. My lawyers contacted Daniel directly, asking if he was aware of the missed payments, the mounting credit card debt, the financial instability. He wasn't. That conversation, when Daniel finally saw the credit card statements, the overdue bills, the lies, that is when everything unraveled for Jessica. I got a call from Daniel at 11 p.m. on a Thursday. Mom, I need to talk to you. His voice was broken, shaking. I met him the next day at a coffee shop. He looked like he hadn't slept. She's been lying to me about everything. The money, the affair. Mom, I'm so sorry. I should have listened to you. I reached across the table and held my son's hand.
You loved her?
That's not a crime. What? She said you were controlling, that you wanted to ruin our marriage. And I believed her. I know. She kicked you out, Mom. She made me choose, and I chose wrong. The tears in his eyes broke my heart. But I'd already forgiven him. He was manipulated, gaslit, lied to. Jessica was the enemy, not my son. What are you going to do? I asked. I filed for divorce yesterday. Custody of Ethan. I have the evidence, the affair, the financial lies, all of it. I nodded. Good. But Mom, the house, the mortgage. I can't afford it on my own. I'll take care of it. And I did. I paid off the remaining mortgage, not for Jessica, but for my son and grandson. The house became Daniel's in the divorce settlement. Jessica got nothing. Well, almost nothing. The final act came 6 months later. Jessica tried to fight the divorce, tried to claim she deserved half of everything, tried to paint herself as the victim, but my lawyers were better. And the evidence was overwhelming. In the end, she walked away with a small settlement, enough for a security deposit on an apartment and maybe a few months' rent. The car, repossessed. The designer bags, sold to pay off credit card debt. The life she'd built on my generosity and my son's kindness, gone. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she moved back to her hometown, living with a friend, working retail. And you know what? I felt nothing, no satisfaction, no guilt, just closure. Daniel and Ethan moved into a smaller house, one he could actually afford. I see them twice a week now. Ethan calls me every night before bed. My son apologized 100 times, but I told him the truth. You don't need to apologize for loving someone. You just need to be smarter about who deserves it. Here's what I learned. Generosity isn't weakness, but boundaries are survival. I gave Jessica everything, and she mistook my kindness for stupidity. She thought I was just a lonely old woman with money to spend. She forgot I was the woman who made that money. Did I ruin her life? No, she ruined it herself. I just stopped enabling it. And that's the difference between revenge and justice. Revenge is petty, and justice is consequence. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you treated like family, drop a comment. Let me know I am not alone in this. And if you enjoyed this story, hit that like button and subscribe. I share real stories about real revenge, real consequences, and real justice. Because sometimes being kind doesn't mean being a doormat. Sometimes it means being smart enough to know when to stop giving. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.